Uganda's government said it is not hunting for opposition leader Bobi Wine, despite threats from the country's powerful army chief to arrest the pop star turned politician.
Listen to the contradiction. The Uganda government is not hunting for Bobi Wine, despite threats from the commander of the defense forces.
And the army chief is on record saying the military was looking for Wine.
Either the Minister of Information is being shamelessly dishonest, or is operating from a point of limited knowledge on the subject.
Strangled me by the neck. Uganda's military chief, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is also Museveni's son, denied soldiers assaulted Wine's wife. He later said on social media that they had captured and then released her.
Imagine that.
Police say their continued presence at the home is intended to prevent any potential acts of violence that could allegedly be coordinated from the location.
We are still having presence around the precincts of his home.
And yes, indeed, presenting to you from these United States of the America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might watch this conversation. My name is Mordecai Morisa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Morisa Live. Exactly. Trying to think this better. All right. Up. I say thank you so much. Thank you very kindly for tuning in. Thank you so much from Liberia, Namibia, Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, ultimately Uganda. Many of you are watching me from the USA, United Kingdom, South Africa, and across the world. Welcome to Mordecai Morisa Live. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here for more updates about what's going on in Uganda. The continued targeting of Bobi Wine, a man who won the election only to be rigged by a dictator, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, a tyrant. All right, let's go on and see what the police says. Bobi Wine was able to come out yesterday and speak to the people. Of course, not the way I'm doing it. He posted on his Facebook. But the Uganda government continues to play games here. I'll show you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, the Uganda government is engaging in this very, very boring game of claiming they're not hunting for Bobi Wine, that they don't want to pursue him. He's safe, he can come back to his house. These are the same people that raided his home, broke into his house, beat up his wife, and the commander of our defense forces has been warning that he's hunting for Bobi Wine. But the Uganda government is trying to convince you, no, we're not doing it. We are not after Bobi Wine. It was Chris Baryomunsi who was interviewed by Reuters, and that's what he said. I'll go on and play the interview, then I'll show you what the police said as I give my commentary. Here is Chris Baryomunsi. Chris Baryomunsi is the Minister of Information, ICT, and National Guidance. A liar, you can tell. Shamelessly, he lies without, with confidence that you can't imagine.
By being in hiding. Uganda's government said it is not hunting for opposition leader Bobi Wine, despite threats from the country's powerful army chief to arrest the pop star turned politician.
Listen to the contradiction. The Uganda government is not hunting for Bobi Wine, despite threats from the commander of the defense forces. Like, two statements cannot be intertwined. They cannot work together. These are oxymorons. The government says, we are not looking for you, but the commander of the defense forces, who works in the same government, says, we are coming after you. That's a contradiction.
The state is not hunting for him because he has not committed any crime.
I mean, he had not committed any crime when you guys raided his home, beat up his wife. He has not committed any crime up to now. You folks are still maintaining heavy security deployment at his home, putting him under your radar for no reason.
In an interview with Reuters, Information Minister Chris Baryomunsi said Wine was free to go home provided he does not engage in law-breaking activities. Wine has been in hiding for weeks. He fled his home in the capital, Kampala, hours before President Yoweri Museveni's January 15 re-election.
No. Not re-election, reselection. He selected himself.
Was announced. Days later, Wine's wife, Barbara Kyagulanyi, was taken to hospital after what she said was an assault by armed and drunk soldiers who raided their home.
Strangled me by the neck.
Uganda's military chief, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is also Museveni's son, denied soldiers assaulted Wine's wife. He later said on social media that they had captured and then released her.
Imagine that. I mean, I made a comment here that, psychophancy becomes extremely difficult when a king, a prince, a president has a son. Because now your psychophancy ends up having to be divided. You have to show that you are a minion to the president, and then you have to show that you are an obsequious foot soldier to the son. Because you know that your bread is being buttered by the president, but in you think that probably if he leaves, he's going to be replaced by the son. So you want to serve both masters. That's why Chris Baryomunsi, the information minister, cannot outrightly condemn Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Much as he knows that all the actions that are being committed at Kyagulanyi's home, at Bobi Wine's home, are unlawful, illegal, he won't outrightly condemn him because he knows that what if things changed and in a very grotesque way, of course, I would hate to see this, but Muhoozi becoming president, he would want to have or maintain his position in the next misrule that would be called a government.
Baryomunsi, who is also a government spokesperson, condemned the raid and said authorities would investigate the incident.
We do not condone any acts of indiscipline on the side of the army.
But he would not say if security personnel would face any penalties if they were found to have violated the law.
It can do more than condemnation.
The Treasurer General of Wine's National Unity Platform, Benjamin Katana, pointed out that the army chief is on record saying the military was looking for Wine.
Either the Minister of Information is being shamelessly dishonest, or is operating from a point of limited knowledge on the subject.
It is not limited knowledge. He knows the truth, but is afraid.
Kainerugaba has not said why the army is searching for Wine or what crime he may be charged with. He has a history of controversial social media posts that he often later deletes. He once threatened to behead Wine and boasted the military had killed 30 opposition supporters. Rights groups have long accused Museveni, who has been in power for 4 decades, of using the military to suppress dissent. His government denies the accusations.
Like there's any government that admits to those accusations, they will deny. Obviously, I think there's going to be some sort of different way of reporting news where you just don't give out government statements. You scrutinize what they say. Oh, the government denies. Nobody's going to come out and say, yeah, we abduct and torture and kill our people. No. You have to be like, hey, while they deny, there are cases that can prove these claims. Okay, let's go and watch the story that was covered by NTV again. The government or the Ugandan police defending the actions of heavy security deployment on Bobi Wine's home. Listen here.
Have continued to cause debate with events. Uganda's recent general elections have continued to cause debate with events surrounding opposition leader Robert Kyagulanyi. On the 15th of last month, Ugandans went to the polls in 146 districts across the country to elect a president and members of parliament. National Unity Platform NUP president and presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi cast his vote at Magere. However, shortly after voting. He reportedly remained within his compound, saying he feared an alleged plan by security operatives to arrest him. In the days that followed, reports emerged alleging that security personnel forcefully entered Chaglanyi's residence, during which property inside the house was damaged. His wife later addressed the media describing how she was physically and verbally mistreated during the incident.
They were in the windows. Every window that you see on that house had like 7 people peeping through it. They said, Igura. And I said, Tinkuza kuigura. They literally meaning open. And I said, I'm not going to open.
And why are they using, that's my language, I mean, Munyankore. Why are they using Runyankore? Is it because they know, oh, if we're going to be arresting or causing damage to so and so, let's send a person who speaks the same language? Sounds like a little bit of there was a lot of nepotism and sort of the sectarianism in hiring these folks.
Then I sat on the stairs. And they broke the door, broke the windows. A swarm of men, big muscles, height so high, they looked the same. When I looked down, they had almost the same shoe size.
Family members and other visitors who attempted to check on Chaglanyi and his wife were stopped at the gate and prevented from accessing the premises by security officers deployed at the home.
Shame that after Museveni rigged the election and declared himself winner, now these are the things he's doing. If you say you got 71%, as he's saying, why are you scared of someone who you claim got 21%? Of course, he knows that he's not legitimate.
As of today, security forces are still stationed at Chaglanyi's residence. Anyone attempting to access the home is reportedly subjected to questioning before being allowed near the premises. Police say their continued presence at the home is intended to prevent any potential acts of violence that could allegedly be coordinated from the location.
We are still having presence around the precincts of his home, like I shared earlier. And I have also shared before that we are doing it for security reasons.
We are doing it for security reasons. What security reasons?
The interest of the security of the country. The question as to what offense has he committed? If he commits a very particular offense, like I said earlier when I was talking about
what's this meandering for? Jeez.
These issues, we would certainly either invite him to police or arrest him and take him to court. But at the moment, just know that they are very specific operational postures around his premises in the interest of national security.
Authorities further state,
You know, this is what they're trying to do. I will explain why they're doing this. They are maintaining security there because they know that somehow he might come back and they want him arrested. They are confused on his next step. That's why they're afraid. I think there's a very funny video I saw on X platform, and this man said, I think was talking about a proverb, said that there's a proverb that says, you can steal a drum and fail to find a place where to drum it. So Museveni stole the election, but is not able to convince the Ugandan people. And while he postures as this duly elected president, his eyes and ears are at Bobi Wine's home, wondering what could be, what might happen. Is he planning on something? Man, if you really won with 71%, the entire, not the entire, but the vast majority of the Ugandan people should be celebrating you. I've hardly seen one celebration of these 71% that voted for you.
that they have not received official reports of people injured by security personnel during the election period, nor have they released figures on the number of arrests made. These
Okay, they go into talking about the other turmoil that we saw in the 2026 elections. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I'll go back and remind you what this guy said. Here's what he said, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the commander of our defense forces. We stopped our search for Bobi Wine for 24 hours on instructions of commander-in-chief. So this man is admitting that even the operations against Bobi Wine were commanded by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Then he goes on to say, apparently, according to some sources, he wanted to surrender peacefully. There's no source that said that. He hasn't surrendered anywhere. Now our troops have orders to bring him in dead or alive. This is the man, the commander of our defense forces. But they want you convinced that, Bobi Wine, they're not pursuing him. Even when you have the son of the president saying, we want him dead or alive. Then he goes on to say, here, I'll move my face. He says, my soldiers did not beat up Bobi Wine's wife. First of all, we do not beat up women. Oh, okay. They're not worth our time. We are looking for her cowardly husband, not her. So this guy is admitting that, we are on a mission to pursue Bobi Wine. But they want us to be like, no. Bobi Wine is safe. Well, Bobi Wine might be out of Uganda. So you might just as well vacate the home of Bobi Wine. I'll show you what Bobi Wine posted. I'm not sure whether it's in Uganda or not. I'll show you what Bobi Wine actually wrote on his X platform earlier. Okay. He posted this picture and then says, while the criminal regime continues to haunt my family and hunt me down, I took off time to read this very insightful book. Above all, it exposes Museveni for who he is and the damage he has done to our country, despite having come with the promise to break away from the past. He says, as Professor Mamdani notes in this book, the Museveni era has corroded the morals of an entire generation, and there's unlikely to be an easy solution to the problem. A pervasive corruption and cynicism cloud the country like a fog. It will take no less than a generation for the country to come out of it. A depressing account it is. We have work cut out for us. We refuse to give up or give in. Uganda will be free. Of course, this is a book from the father of the mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani, and his name is Mahmoud Mamdani. So Bobi Wine was posted. I think he's telling his people that, hey, I am still alive and you can see me, here I am. So that's still pursuing him. You might be wondering where. I have a lot of people usually ask me, Monica, you must know. You know where Bobi Wine is. I am sorry to inform you that I do not. I wish I knew. I would be asking him for an interview. And hey, Mr. President Bobi Wine, if you see this interview, I would like to interview you and let us know where you are. Of course you won't. I'm just kidding. You don't have to. But if you're watching this, I know it breaks your heart that we have an election that ends with a political candidate having to flee his home. That is so bad. But what is worse is the turmoil, the contradiction you see in the Museveni government. That they cannot even coordinate in their lawlessness. You have the Minister of Information coming out to say this, and then you have the son of the president, whose dad has pretty much failed in as far as reining in on him is concerned, tweeting uncoordinated statements. Just like Bobi Wine said, the height at which Museveni's lawlessness has corroded our country is going to take us decades and decades to fix. Let me try to bring it home here. Museveni has been in power for 40 years, since 1986. That means, and we have to discuss, how has he maintained power? He's kept this firm grip on power through manipulation, coercion, domination, intimidation. So you realize once you do that, it becomes some sort of an established culture. So now you have kids who were born in 1986 up to, let's say, whoever, that's let's say 20 to 40 years and below. They've come to know the only way of how the government should work is lawlessness and impunity of Museveni. There's a grotesque, dark, very bizarre culture that has been established. And that's one of the reasons why we are against overstaying in power. Because there's no way you go, the power, all men, it is inherent, it is in us to pursue power. You're not going to convince me that you're going to stay in power for 40 years without employing those dark strategies. And as a result of that, it has become an established culture. You have junior officers in the military, police officers in the police, assaulting people, violating their rights. You have residential district commissioners, government civil servants, all of these people breaking the law, stealing people's lands. Is it plural? Land. People's land. And in order to change that culture, it's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna take a lot. But it is doable. And with this, I will end with the words of Barack Hussein Obama. You might have your reservations about him, but hey, these statements are true. Yes, we can. Yes, we will. And let's do this now. All right. I'll continue following Ugandan political trends, and I'll make sure that I keep you posted. Please go on and like this video, share it with people out there. I'll truly, truly appreciate it. My name is Mordecai Murisa. See you later. Bye-bye for now.